So I've said on my channel multiple times that I feel like 2024 has been like one of the best years for horror, if not like ever. I mean, maybe not in terms of box office. There hasn't been like a massive box office smash, but in terms of like quality and quantity, I think 2024 is kind of unmatched when it comes to the horror genre. So I thought, hey, let's just kick back today and take a look back on some of the horror films of this year and do a little ranking. So, you know, I got my Longlegs shirt on. I got my scary cowboy hat. So let's jump into it. All right, I'm not going to go in any order here. I'm just going to kind of pick at random. But let's start with In a Violent Nature. Yeah, this movie is wild. I was not expecting it to be, you know, as good as it was. I didn't really know quite what to expect, but what we got was like a pretty unique and different take on like the slasher genre. It's basically like people have described it as like a horror film where like it's from the perspective of the killer. I don't know if that's quite true. I think it's more of like we're a fly on the wall following this guy, you know, on the hunt, killing people. We're never getting like, I don't think we ever got any like POV shots from his perspective, but I could be wrong. It's, you know, I saw this in June. But yeah, overall, this movie has some crazy, intense, inventive kills. It's got beautiful cinematography. This may be slower for a lot of people. This movie is like 50% of him walking through the woods. So yeah, it may turn some people off. But I, for one, dug the hell out of this movie. Very effective. You know, it made me, when I walked out of the theater, I kind of felt gross and just like I kind of went through a weird experience. And that's a good thing. So, In a Violent Nature, we're gonna go B. We're gonna give In a Violent Nature a solid old B. All right, next up, let's do Cuckoo. Hunter Schafer, Dan Stevens. This movie's wild, man. This movie was wild. I thought it was a cool take on this genre. It is very different. It has a very unique story. When you get the reveal, you're like, whoa, this is what this movie is about. Great performance from Hunter Schafer and Dan Stevens. Dan Stevens is having a great time. He has a German accent. He's a German villain, so he's having a blast here. I love that Hunter Schafer's character throughout the movie gets more and more and more fucked up as the movie goes along. Like, by the end, she has like a head wrap. She's in a sling. Her eyes are puffy. She's covered in blood. She has like this jacket slung over. She's kind of limping around. I thought that was kind of a fun and inventive final girl look, just from a visual perspective. But no, this was a wild movie. Not really scary, but definitely horrific. And yeah, pretty solid. Pretty solid little flick. If you have not checked out Cuckoo, I highly recommend it. We're going to give Cuckoo a B. Good shit. Oddity. Yes. So I said in my review that Oddity is the scariest movie I've seen this year, and I stand by that. I still to this day have not seen anything scarier than Oddity. If you're someone who loves horror and, you know, you've watched all the horror films and you somehow missed this one and you're looking for a good actual scary movie, then you need to watch this one. This is an actually fucking terrifying, scary movie. This movie has jump scares, but what's unique about, not unique, what makes this film so effective is that the jump scares actually are scary things happening on screen that make you jump. It's not just like someone turning around and bumping into somebody or somebody closing a medicine cabinet and someone's in the background. There's none of that shit here. Every jump scare, there's a reason for a jump scare, and the visuals are terrifying. The story's really cool. It goes into interesting places I wasn't expecting. My only like real critique of the movie is that I didn't like the color grading, which I know is a snobby thing to say, but I don't like movies that are color graded in like that gray blue. It just makes the visuals look kind of boring and flat. And unfortunately, this movie does kind of have that color grading. Everything's blue and gray, and just kind of, it's not really interesting to look at. But that's a really, like I said, nitpicky thing. Overall, this is the scariest movie I've seen this year, and fantastic movie. So we're gonna give Oddity just because it's the scariest movie of the year. We're giving that motherfucker an A. Next up is Late Night with the Devil. Just when you thought that, you know, the The found footage genre has run its course. Someone comes along and makes something like this, does something different with the found footage genre, and it's great. I mean, you're basically watching a whole episode of a late night TV segment. But yeah, it's basically about a talk show host who's has low numbers. So one Halloween night, he invites a psychic, a skeptic, and a little girl who claims to be possessed by the devil, and it's fun. It's a fun movie. It's a fun found footage movie. It's a movie that kept me glued from the moment it opened to the very end. The movie gets pretty wild in the ending. Gets pretty fucking bizarre, but I dug it. I ate it all up. It could be too bizarre for some people, but I dug the hell out of it. It does get a little too surreal in the end, or I was like, probably didn't need to do this. But overall, fun movie, great performances. Again, not really scary, but some good horror in this one. Some good horror. This one was, at the end of the day, like, Late Night with the Devil is probably one of the most entertaining horror films of the year. Even if it's not scary or, not like crazy gore, at the very least, it's like incredibly entertaining. So I'm going to give Late Night with the Devil an A. Like that, this movie fucking rules. If you have not checked it out, I think it's on Shudder. Actually, I think all three of these movies are on Shudder, if I'm not mistaken. Late Night with the Devil, Oddity, and A Violent Nature. Next up is Strangers Chapter 1. Yes, the movie we are all begging for. We wanted that Strangers prequel. Please, we are banging at the door of Hollywood. Please give us a prequel to The Strangers. Yeah, this movie fucking sucked. I hated this movie. I wanted to walk out, but you got to sit through it all. I was actually going to review this, but when I got home, I was like, I don't even know what the fuck I'd even say about this movie for 8 minutes. Like, it's not a good movie. It's not scary. The acting is atrocious. It's just a complete nothing burger. And it doesn't even deliver on the promise of the movie. Like, I felt like I was duped. I felt like we've all been duped by watching this, and it's just dog doo-doo. This movie is dog doo-doo. I hate to be really mean on this one, but yeah, this one fucking sucked. We're giving this one a D. If you haven't guessed it, the fact that I'm wearing a Longlegs shirt, I like this movie. I liked it quite a bit. It's one of my favorite movies of the year. Great performance from Nick Cage. But one of the biggest reasons I love this movie, and I've said this in my review, and I said this in a different video, is that I just love the atmosphere of this movie. I think the atmosphere of this movie carries the movie. It's very creepy and unsettling, and very moody. I dug the world and look of this movie. Great acting, great visuals. I think it's all shot in wide lenses, which is kind of wild. But yeah, I thought this was a really dark, insane, fucking good time at the theater. I love this movie. It's one of my favorite movies of the year. We're giving this one an A. Next up, let's do Stop Motion, a kind of relatively unknown horror film. It came out earlier this year. I want to say, does it say in the poster? I want to say it came out in February, but I could be wrong. It's either January or February. But this movie was great. I had no idea what this movie was. I walked into it without knowing anything whatsoever, completely blind, and it's fun. It's one of those like really good psychological horror films. So if you like things like Black Swan or Enemy, psychological horror films like that where you're not quite sure what's real, what's not real, it's one of those kind of movies, and it's super effective. It's a pretty solid, creepy. It has some really good creepy stop motion, because this woman's making a stop motion movie, and it's very bleak and weird and gross, and yeah, this is just a good solid horror flick. We're gonna give this one a B. Let's do our religious horror, because we got two of them. Let's start with Immaculate. Sydney Sweeney. Yes. This one was okay. I don't know. I didn't love it. I do appreciate the bold ending. The ending goes pretty fucking hard in the paint, so that was kind of fun. But overall, I don't know. It was okay. I wasn't really sucked into the story. I think Sydney Sweeney was great in the movie, and there's some side characters I really enjoyed. But overall, it was just kind of It was fine, but again, I appreciate the ending. It is like once the reveal happens, it's kind of like I don't know if I quite buy this, but like the last 5 minutes of the movie is so fucking bananas that I kind of dug it, just the ending. But yeah, overall, I don't know. It was fine. It was okay. It wasn't the best thing in the world, so we're gonna give Immaculate a good old C. All right, let's do the other religious one, which is the First Omen. Yeah, this movie, I don't know if I was like necessarily looking forward to it. It definitely piqued my interest because I had a pretty cool trailer. If you guys remember I think it was a teaser trailer. It just had music. I don't think there was a line of dialogue in it. I could be wrong, but it had a really good trailer. And I was like, hey, it's been a while since we've seen an Omen. It's been a while since we've seen an Omen movie, and it was pretty damn solid. This is another movie I intended on reviewing, but I just didn't get to it. But I thought this movie was great. I thought this was almost not necessarily the polar opposite of Immaculate, but this was a movie that I was drawn into the story. I was drawn into the characters. I was invested. It goes into some like batshit crazy places in the end. Yeah, this was a fun, unexpected film. Like this was actually really good, and it's kind of weird that no one's really talking about it because it's not a bad movie by any sense. But yeah, we're gonna give First Omen a B. Pretty solid. And that freak out, oh man, when she's freaking out, which is a call out to what's that, Possession. That's some good shit. All right, we'll do the spider movie, Infested. I know there's another spider movie that came out this year. I forget what it's called, but I haven't seen that one yet. I've only seen this one. And this one was okay. I think that the problem with this movie is that the first like 45 minutes I think is really strong because it puts you in the shoes of like, you know, being in a room with like a spider, just like one spider or two spiders, and how like crawling on the walls, and it gets really like icky, like that kind of feeling, like shivers. The movie does a really good job at that in the first 45 minutes, but then the movie just like swarms you with like hundreds and thousands of spiders, and by that point it kind of loses that creepy icky feeling, because the more you have of them, the less kind of icky creepy it felt, at least to me. So that was kind of a bummer, but you know, the first 45 minutes is pretty effective in that regard. Some pretty cool set pieces, although I don't think the set pieces go as hard as they should, or as thrilling as on the edge of your seat as they could have been. But overall, it's a pretty solid movie. Pretty solid, but we're going to go see. All right, what do we got left? We're getting to the end here. Let's do The Deliverance, the new Netflix Lee Daniels movie. This one's weird. This one is weird because the first half of this movie is a pretty compelling, you know, family drama, pretty disturbing, depressing family drama that's really well done, in my opinion. Some great acting, some great dramatic moments. And then, like, halfway through the movie, it kind of pivots into just, like, an exorcist slop thing. Like, it was just, like, it's so bizarre, and it just the two genres don't mix. It's like you have an entertaining, you know, dark family drama, and then it just transitions into just an exorcist movie. It did not mesh well. The things didn't mix well. It was just kind of like, it's such a bummer. It almost kind of undermines the whole thing. I wish it just would have been a drama. Yeah, this one I did not like whatsoever. We're going to give Deliverance a D. I know a lot of people in the comments disagree with me, and, you know, they yelled at me and stuff, but yeah, this did not dig the Deliverance. All right, I think we're on the last one here. Oh no, we got two more. Let's do MaXXXine. MaXXXine's another one I just talked about in another video, so I'll keep it brief here. But yeah, MaXXXine it was okay. It's my least favorite of the three. I think X and Pearl are way better, but at the end of the day, Mia Goth is incredible in this movie, as she's been in all of them, although I don't think it's as good as Pearl, like her performance. I don't know. At the end of the day, I just feel like the first two movies, I resonated with the tone and what those movies were trying to accomplish. And this movie's tone and what it was trying to accomplish, I just didn't dig. I'm not a big, like, corny B-movie horror guy. That's just not really my taste. And this is kind of what that movie was going for. It's very kind of B-movie, slasher, you know, religious horror. And I don't know. At the end of the day, it just wasn't for me. And that was kind of a bummer because I really liked the first two movies. But yeah, this one just did not quite do it for me. Not a bad movie by any means. It's well shot, well acted, some fun, gruesome horror scenes. But yeah, coming from X and Pearl, this was a little bit of a letdown. So we're going to give MaXXXine a C. All right, now we're on the last one, which is another movie that came out early this year, and that is, oh my God, Lovely, Dark, and Deep. A movie I've never heard of when I watched it, went in blind, and pretty solid. Pretty solid little flick. Very unique, very different. Cool ending. This is one of those movies where it's like people are acting weird throughout the movie, or there are some behaviors that are kind of like, why are they acting like that? What are they doing? And then when you get to the ending and everything is kind of given to you, all the information's given to you, it's one of those movies where you're like, oh, then you can go back and watch it again and all the pieces fit into place. You're like, okay, that's why this is happening, that's why that's happening. This is one of those kind of movies which I dig. I like movies where you're kind of questioning things throughout, and then you get to the ending, and the ending's like, boom, here it is, and you're like, oh, okay, now I know why this is happening and that's happening. So it's a pretty cool ending. I dug the hell out of this ending. I do think the movie kind of meanders in like the last 30 minutes or so. It kind of becomes less creepy and atmospheric. I do think the movie is very good in the first hour, with its like, tone and atmosphere and creepiness. But yeah, I think the last 30 minutes just goes into like weird surrealism shit. I'm just like, didn't quite do it for me. But man, that ending, that was some good shit. That was some Shyamalan type stuff. So we're gonna go lovely, dark, and deep. We're gonna just give this one a solid little B. Give that a solid little B. So yeah, here we are at the end of it. I mean, this is pretty damn solid. We got a couple A's, mostly B's. Like I said, I think 2024 is like one of the best years for horror, and like we're not even done yet. We still got Nosferatu, we got Terrifier 3, Smile 2. So there's still horror movies to look forward to for the remainder of the year. So I don't know. I feel like I should probably revisit this list maybe in January. I'll kind of do like a bigger buffer tier list video. But as of now, like I said, I just want to sit back and rank some of the movies we have gotten so far. And so far, this year has not disappointed. I mean, obviously, I didn't touch movies like Imaginary or Tarot, A Night Swim. I didn't see those movies. I didn't really care to. So yeah, there has been some stinkers. It hasn't been a perfect year, but for the most part, looking at this list, very, very, very solid year for horror. I hope as a horror fan, you've been loving this year. I've been loving this year. I've been eating good. Hope you've been eating good. And thanks for watching. Hope you agree with my list, or or do you disagree with my list? Let me know in the comments. And until the next time, I will see you on the next one.